Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families and the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Happy Saturday, everybody. It's a Saturday, and it's cold, at least where I am, and I think where everybody is. I didn't check with Amos, but I'm pretty sure it's cold in Utah, and where Chris is, and cold in Santa Cruz, relatively, for Californians. For Laura, morning, everybody. It's a mellow Saturday here. Except I'm cold. I'm moving slow because it's cold. It's just not ready for it. And it's like, we got people here. Hi, everybody. 14 of you, and climbing. Jeffrey and Oz and Brom. And hi there. Hey, Schultze. What did you say earlier? Good morning. Thank you. Carter looks lonely. You know why? It's not because, this isn't a, Carter is lonely because he's the only non-warmonger there, right?
He's not a member of their club.
Right. So, yeah, that's a good pick. Anyway, here's everybody we have this morning. See, and Christine, I already fucked it up. I smashed my hand right into my mic and made a really loud sound. So there's the first fucked it up. This is our crew. Everybody say good morning to Amos and Christine Lund, who's joining us today. So, hi, Christine. This is her first time, and Laura Live and Good there at the top, of course.
Madly looking for Christine's Twitter so that I can put it in. There it is. I got it. Yeah. So I can put it in the lower third, so lower third will be complete.
Yeah, good.
I got distracted.
So how is everybody? I love Carter too. It's cold where you are, Brom. It's not even going to be 70 today. Where are you? I forget where you are. You're somewhere where it's supposed to be warm. Not even going to be 70. 70 would be lovely. I'd be outside enjoying 70. I'm sorry. Whoever's ear is real, I apologize for that. See, I've already damaged people's ears with my blunders on the microphone. And Al paid $10 anyway. Thank you, Al. Appreciate that. $10 donation. Let's start the day off right with smacking the microphone and everybody.
Hearing aids for everybody.
Hearing aids for everybody. That's right.
Hearing aids for all.
All right. So we have some fun stuff to talk about. The cover is, I don't know who made it. It was on Facebook's, and Marcus and I were talking about it yesterday. Marcus is, obviously his mom died last week. For those of you who don't know, and he's still dealing with, obviously, with what we deal with when one of our loved one dies, especially your mom. And he'll be maybe with us next week. I don't know. We're kind of take a hiatus for the holidays like we always do, but just know that he's there and he's okay, and says hi to everybody, but he's dealing with that stuff. I think the funeral's this weekend, so I wish Marcus the best. But he and I were laughing at this because we thought it was perfect. Hillary can't even get started in Canada. I don't know why she's trying to do her book with husband there in Canada. I was thinking if Peter Douche is watching, everybody's talking about the different tickets, the Dem tickets, but really the ultimate, and Marcus said this first, would be Clinton. Right? If Bill and Hillary just went at it. But we reversed the roles, and Hillary was president and Bill was first lady, or first man, first whatever he would be. Which
is really what it was, I think,
right,
when he actually was president.
Right. So, so I think Marcus has it there, and I think they would do really well with that, and I think the establishment would get behind them, and Bill and Hillary would be all over it. They would never turn that down. So
okay, so that's when we go to Germany, right, John?
Yes.
Yeah, at that point, nope.
Anybody that can afford to get a passport and apply for dual citizenship, now's your time. Okay, now's your time. Really is important to do. I'm actually going to just go visit Marcus in a couple months. I am. Because we're taking this break. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. We'll say hi to everybody from Germany. Check it out as my second citizenship. That's where I'm going to apply. See if Marcus can stash me in the basement or something. That's where I'm going for. Anyway, we're going to cut. I'm going to do my piece last. I thought this card was just appropriate because, yeah. Amos is going to talk about current events, things that are going on, because there's been an awful lot of stuff. Not good stuff, right, Amos?
Yeah, it's never good stuff. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Occasionally, like from AOC, and we get. Anyway, tell us about what's going on. What's the first thing you have? One of my least favorite people on earth, the Wisconsin dude. Who is this guy? Both these guys. Who is this? Trump and is that Walker?
Yep, that's Scott Walker. Yep. So that brings me to Wisconsin, and I don't know how much everybody has paid attention, but Wisconsin has elected a new governor, a Democrat called Tony Evers, and the Wisconsin legislature, which is still Republican, has decided to use their lame duck session the rest of the time to limit his powers in a couple of ways, in 3 different ways, to hinder him from doing things that he's promised to do. For example, they're trying to prevent him from reversing the allowance for guns in the state capitol, so people can just walk around. Instead of a metal detector, I imagine they have like a weapon cleaning station kiosk. So he's trying to reverse that. They're trying to prevent him. They're also trying to prevent him from removing a lawsuit against Obamacare, which basically allowed them through the waiver system to create a state-operated healthcare. So they're trying to stand in his way in that regard. And finally, he's trying to dismantle the economic development organization that he's put in. He put in a private development organization. That was one of the things that Tony Evers ran on. He said he would dismantle it as soon as he'd become governor. They're trying to prevent him from changing the chief of it, so he wouldn't be able to do anything for another year. so that's kind of like a dirty kind of thing. It's not illegal, and we'll see that in a lot of places Republicans are using like barely legal kind of things to pass and battle Democrats, but it's certainly against the spirit of democracy. And it's similar to what's going on in North Carolina. Has anybody heard about what's going on there?
I mean, other than they're moving backwards at the speed of light, I don't know which particular incident in North Carolina. I see you're talking. We got a district map here.
The election fraud, right?
What's that?
Election fraud, right?
Well, election fraud is one thing. That was like there was ballot harvesting that was done by a Republican operative, and they were just collecting absentee ballots, and who knows whether they've submitted all of them or which ones they submitted. They may have just tossed them. It looks like they tossed a bunch of them away and only submitted the Republican ones. So that's in the background. Nice. But in the foreground, the Republicans have just passed this weird law that sounds very kind of mundane, and you wouldn't even know what it means. It says the election board in every county will be chaired by a member of the political party with the highest number of registered voters in odd number of years, and during even number of years, the board would be chaired by a member of the party with the second highest number of registered voters. So since Democrats have the highest number of since Democrats have the highest number of registered voters, they would only manage the election board in odd number of years, which means not the years that there are major elections on.
It's like a law a junior
That's
high
not
kid
sketchy at all, is it?
No. It's like a junior high kid would make that up to try to get out of some homework or something.
Yep.
But they're going to pass it because they have power, right? Is that
They have power and it's legal. It's just weird and it's stupid because the same thing can be done to them, but that's what they chose to do. And that brings me to the whole issue of gerrymandering, and we've seen that through the recent years how Republicans have been super good with carving out these weird shapes that I don't think that gerrymandering, when they compared it to a salamander foot, even came anywhere close to this. It looks like a Rorschach blot test, but in a lot of cases.
Right.
But I think that there's a silver lining to that, and the fact is that they're optimizing their voting capabilities. So they're basically carving it out. So there's areas where there's almost 100% Democrats. So a lot of Democratic votes go to waste because anything above 50% basically is just not counted. So it's good for them right now, but where do you go from there? If you're at the state where you're like close to 50%, and you have nowhere else to go, you cannot gerrymander out of it anymore. Any other move that you do just makes it worse. So I see it as a silver lining. At some point, it'll bite them in the behind, I think.
Possibly. Yeah. I like Snorky. This District 9, North Carolina, is expected to get a nasty ice storm and lose power for up to 2 weeks. We don't even have to give them a cold stare. What do you do about it? About it?
Not much. I think Democrats have tried to do similarly, but they can't because they're not in charge of as many local areas. And I think the whole practice it should be abandoned. This should be a different way of dealing with that. There's another story that came up with Ted Cruz and Jim Inhofe in the Senate trying to pass a law called the Wall Act. Has any of you heard of that? The Wall Act?
No.
Well, it's a 20. They say that the wall, the Mexican border wall, should be funded by $25 billion that would be taken out of child tax credit, food stamps, federal benefits for low-income people, and so forth. So,
of course,
I don't know why they're doing it though, because obviously it's not going to pass the Democratic House. It's like I don't know. Is there really that many base people that cheer for all low-income people to be completely destroyed? Like, I don't see it.
That seems to be the base of the Republican Party. The Republicans are all over that. Those people don't need those handouts. I mean, that's right. So I think it has a great chance of moving through. It's almost as realistic as, well, it's more realistic actually in the current power system than Nancy Pelosi's push for this H.R. 1 bill that's supposed to do great things, because that doesn't have a chance in flying fuck of passing. So, I guess this is what they do. They make up these things to the extreme of their stuff, and then, with the Democrats' case, it's just whatever. But yeah, why wouldn't Chuck give him half of it?
Right.
He was willing to give him 1.6. Is this the new offer? So Chuck now has to offer 12.5 billion, and then we got our wall.
I think it may pass in the Senate, but we all know that it's not going to pass in the House. So it's like that upon arrival.
Don't you sell the House short? The House.
I don't see it.
The House isn't nearly as progressive or as democratic as we'd like to think, don't you? I bet Chuck Schumer will find a way to talk to Nancy about working that one out.
Well, I think it would be a suicide to take billions of dollars out of these areas.
Of course it would. Of course it would. But yeah.
And finally, there was one other thing that I wanted to bring up, and that's the holiday greetings. We all have these uncles or whatever that state that they're saying Merry Christmas to everyone. They're not going to listen to it. It's not appropriate to have PC where it comes to holidays or whatever. And my relatives encountered a guy in a store that was greeted by the cashier who said Happy Holiday to him, and he turned to them sternly and said Merry Christmas with a frown on his face. And I thought it was funny because to me it's the whole sentiment of sending greetings, greeting people is sending a message of love and care for the people, and it's kind of like completely misses the whole point. It's like for me, when I'm seeing someone, if I don't know what they're celebrating, I just say Happy Holiday. If I know what they're celebrating, then I can say Happy Hanukkah or whatever it is, because it's about them. It's not about me. It's not about my culture. It's about them and sending them a feeling of love.
Sorry, I'm thinking about this whole thing, and I as I'm an ex-Catholic, and you know, hate all the cults. Religion is just a mainstream cult. Everybody, just gonna put it there. But I was thinking my holiday response to everybody would just be a jovial "fuck you," but in like a happy way. It's just because I don't want to recognize anything. It's like "fuck you," happy "fuck you." I'm just gonna say that because. Fuck it all. It's so trivial, folks. We're going to die from climate change. Fuck your holiday seasons and fuck your greetings and fuck your... Yeah, fuck you. See? See how easy that is? Are you going to talk about this quote from Individual One?
Oh, yeah.
As well?
Sure, Individual One. So I don't know if any of you saw that, but it was an interview that he gave to
well, who are we talking about? Nobody knows who Individual One is.
Okay, well, Individual One, Trump,
Yeah.
gave an interview to Washington Post, and this is verbatim what he said. I wanted to record a child saying it because it would be appropriate, but this is just for entertainment value, if you could consider that. So basically, he said, "You look at our air and our water, and it's right now at the record clean. But when you look at China and you look at parts of Asia and you look at South America, and when you look at many other places in the world, including Russia, including many other places, the air is incredibly dirty. And when you're talking about an atmosphere, oceans are very small." I don't know what he meant with that.
Only when we're not talking about Puerto Rico.
Yeah. And then he goes on and he talks about, let's see.
It blows over and sails over. I mean, I don't even know what he's talking about here with the garbage. What is this shit with the garbage?
Yes, then he switches to, I don't know how that relates to global climate change. I mean,
It doesn't.
It's environmental damage, but it's totally unrelated to global climate change. And he says, it blows over and it sails over. I mean, we take thousands of tons of garbage off our beaches all the time that come from Asia. It just flows right down the Pacific. It flows and we say, where does this come from? And it takes many people to start off with. I have no idea what he's talking about. Maybe somebody else can interpret that.
He's brilliant at talking gibberish, and that's what makes him so scary. So that was humorous. All right, then.
Crazy.
Laura, live comments? You're smiling there.
No, I'm just working on the slides.
All right, then. Well, thank you, Amos. Those are what's going on around the... I don't even know what that is. Stuff around the USA. Big stories. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
It's yeah. There's been, and that's like, you guys know, that's like a small, tiny piece of stuff going on. It's impossible to report on all of these crazy things happening, right? I'm watching you guys talk and chat about some of the other things going on.
The question is that a bat skeleton behind
Oh
you?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
He's called Adolf.
Adolf the Bat Skeleton. All right. See, we have pets
cool.
on this show.
Yeah. You couldn't have a big halo like John and I do, so we have a bat skeleton. Yeah, that's works.
Right. Everybody needs an eye and a halo.
Yeah.
That's right. We got Jesus complexes here.
Yeah. Protects us.
So, Christine Lund, are you ready to do your piece on climate, the public land grab?
Sure.
All right.
I can get my voice with me today.
Awesome. Everybody welcome Christine Lund. She's a volunteer known as the Natural Progressive on YouTubes and Facebooks. And I don't know, is that where you mostly post at Facebooks?
Twitter mostly,
Twitter.
not Facebook so much. Awesome. Yeah.
Well, look, we had just a big bump in viewers because I mentioned your name. So there you go.
All right.
So
Sure, that's it.
what are we talking about?
I finished her lower third, too.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
You're going to talk about this public land grab, huh?
Yes, it's like the largest Native American or attempted Native American land grab in 100 years. It's just amazing, and the whole reason for it is they want that land to mine on. They'll talk about recreation and all that, but it's already used for multiple use like recreation and all that. But they want to mine on it, and they want to make it easier to mine on. And this is related to what happened in Bears Ears as well, because at Bears Ears, they shut the monument and they just kept saying we want it for recreational use. And at first they said not mining. There's no mining there, and of course we all know now because it came out that they want mining there. But the reason they wanted the land transferred to the state is because of the permitting process, and that's why I wanted to show you the video.
Okay, so we're talking about grabbing land in Utah and federal versus state land grabs here, and why one's worse or better than the other, right?
Yes, and the video that I sent to you is one that kind of it's to sell to, I guess, the miners. I don't know who the audience is supposed to be or whatever. The transfers, the land transfers of why they want those land transfers from federal to state.
Let me be clear on this. So the video we're running here is it propaganda for the people that want to grab the land, or is this a public message explaining how that's bad? Which way is this for?
I pulled it off of a local show, but it's just, I guess it's for minors, or it was for everybody. It's like a conservative show. Well, and they just showed this video in the middle of this conservative talk show.
All right, so this will be interesting, everybody. We'll see if we can tell a spin one way or the other, I guess. And we'll pull up this video. Give me a second here. I wasn't sure which way either when I started watching it. It's like, what are they trying to say? So, public land grabs here.
The story of two Utah oil and gas prospectors, Derek and Jack. They both have leases on public land to explore and produce natural gas. Derek's lease is on state land, while Jack's lease is on federal land. Question: who will pump gas first? To solve for Derek's ex, there are 4 steps to follow. First off, the staff at the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mines make sure that things are legit, like location, well spacing, and the proper leases exist. If all the information is accurate, the well gets an official well number. Next, the landowner, division inspector, and the operator visit the proposed location to determine exactly where the well will be drilled and determine any impacts to wildlife, surface water, etc. Step number 3. This is where all the drill ducts get put in a row. The division checks the geology, the hydrology, determines what bonding needs to be in place to make sure Derek cleans up after himself, and that there is sound engineering in the drill plan. Finally, the last hurdle to a permit is a statement of basis, which is a document that lays out all the things they need to do to have a safe, happy, and productive well. When this is at hand, voila, a permit is issued. Time frame from application to approval for the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining on state land is 45 to 60 days, maybe 90 in a pinch. Worst case is a couple of months. Now let's look at Jack's problem. By the time Derek has his permit and is setting up his rig, Jack is typically not even a quarter way through his first step in his 16-step journey to a permit. you will see this is a very different kind of math that has to be done to solve Jack's equation when he's on federal land. Get a pencil, this might get complicated. We will condense this just a bit so you don't get writer's cramp. It starts when Jack gets his lease and the clock starts ticking. He will have 10 years to start development or the land goes back for lease, which, believe it or not, might be cutting it kind of close. Second, Jack files a notice of staking, or NOS, to let BLM know where he intends to drill. The BLM then schedules an inspection, which is posted for a 30-day review before it can take place. After this inspection, an environmental team meets to review issues of wildlife, water, air quality, and so on. If there are issues, new federal agencies will need to get involved with their own process, adding their own timeline before leasing can proceed. This might include U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the EPA, Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Bureau of Reclamation, Forest Service. You get the idea. After Jack works with each of them and they each complete their own agency process, it becomes part of the environmental assessment. If Jack clears that hurdle, he can now drill a test well to see what he finds. If he finds gas, he moves ahead. If he doesn't, he starts all over again. According to studies by the Western Energy Alliance, it's been an average of about 3 years to this point. So, Jack's got gas. He now has to develop a detailed, technical, and economic drilling plan. When this is complete, BLM will decide whether to start to prepare an environmental impact statement. On average, this could take the agency as long as 6 years to complete, maybe longer.
Okay, I gotta stop there because this is cracking me up.
I know, right?
It's just too, so, who's gonna be pumping gas first? That's like within the first 10 seconds of this video.
Right?
I think we know what they're promoting here, and why would federal getting involved with federal lands and looking at the environment taking time? Goddamn fuckers! We just want to be pumping those fossil fuels, right, Christine?
Exactly, and I think the biggest part they just skim over is the Bureau of Indian Affairs, where they could be, and they are, drilling on Native American land. So if it's managed by BLM, which a lot of the reservations are, it doesn't really matter. You know, they just drill on it anyway, and they're supposed to go through the Indian Affairs. And the Native Americans have a huge lawsuit against the U.S. government because of this. And yeah, so anyway, the state basically wants to transfer as much federal land into state control as possible so that they can avoid that long permitting process to get the drilling done.
Wow.
Of course.
That's why that video was so important to this story.
Yeah.
I'm glad you shared that. I was just trying to figure out, like, she's saying all these things and all these logos, and it's like, of course. And I'm thinking, yeah, is she for or against this? I mean, is it meant to kind of go both ways? It's like she's making a very good case for why it should be done, and but yet this is not.
I know.
It's like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Makes you feel like you're in La La Land. You're like, yeah, okay, so that's a bad thing to go through all those steps? I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. It's what frightens me is if I'm Mr. Miner in Utah and I watch this and I'm a conservative thinking miner, and I'm going to see this and go, well, fuck the federal government. They just don't all those things. And I'm just going to, the state needs to control this and rah.
And they call that big government, all those floofy agencies. That's what they mean.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile,
by too much government. It's like, oh my God.
If they don't go through all those steps, they will be poisoning the water. They will be causing air pollution, which they had in the area that has to do with the Ute tribe. The one that sued the United States government. They had a few years back at the height of the oil boom, emissions in that 30,000 people town. They had emissions 8 times that of the entire LA basin.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, or the equivalent of 100 million cars.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, and so this is environmental too. I mean, they taking advantage of the Native American lands, and when they do go in and drill on their lands, at the very least, the Native Americans are supposed to receive the the income from the leases, the benefits of it, and they haven't been. So they basically stole all that. And so now that the Native American tribe, the Ute tribe, is suing the U.S. government, the Utah state tried to intervene in that lawsuit, and then the BLM put in there that they don't think the reservation exists anymore, and that's the next slide, I believe.
What's the slide say? Governor, is this from the governor?
Oh, that's part of it. Yeah. This. Go ahead and put that one up.
Okay, hang on.
Just because this just shows the, how they sell the. Yeah, one of the driving justifications for extensive collaborative effort, and this is talking about the land transfers or the public land initiative that they were pushing. It's a belief that consolidating trust lands in energy-rich areas. Yeah, you can read it anyway.
But it sounds
like I don't wear my glasses. Now I can't
well, that's
see
all right. It sounds like the governor of if we get to what we're getting here, it sounds like the governor of Utah is all about fossil fuels.
Yeah, he is. But he's all nice about multiple use and how the money's going to go to the schools, because they're basically trading SITLA lands, state lands that were put aside for public schools, to make income for public schools. But if they're not rich in mining, they'll trade them for like the monument land that they just cut down the
in
monument.
exchange for protection of some of Utah's iconic and sensitive landscapes.
In
exchange.
It's extortion.
Like, we're trading you.
It's
extortion.
Yeah.
It's extortion. And who was it in comments made the Barbara? I would think local tribal authorities should be over BIA. I would think our treaties would matter too. That's the problem. Like, the U.S. doesn't give a shit. We have no honor in this country. We don't honor any of that shit. Anything.
They haven't been honoring the treaties for years and years and years. Yeah, exactly. Forever. We haven't honored them, and it's just getting to a really, really bad point right now up in northeastern Utah, where the Ute tribe is located. I mean, they've already been pushed out of Colorado and stuffed on that little reservation, and they just keep allowing people to settle there. In the early days, right before we became a state, or right around that time, they let a bunch of people come in and settle in their reservation, and they just keep making it smaller and smaller and smaller. And there has been no congressional action to actually make those reservations smaller. And now they're trying to claim it doesn't exist at all.
Right.
So, and yeah, this is all related to the Bears Ears, Escalante, all that. It's all for the same reason. You can already recreate in these areas. You can do almost everything. They already have grazing permits and all that. So that's how they get the ranchers all riled up, is to say that if the state doesn't have control over it, they're going to take away your grazing rights. And that's just not true. The BLM would handle the grazing and decide how to manage it, even if it is a monument. They would still be in charge of all that to see what's acceptable grazing, where they don't overgraze it. But it wouldn't go away altogether. It's in the proclamation that Obama wrote for the Bears Ears, and for all of them. I mean, they've always grazed in Escalante and all that. There's some protected areas where they don't want grazing,
right.
And they definitely don't want mining on monuments.
No, the idea of protecting federal lands just for the sake of the environment is just ridiculous. How unpatriotic is that?
It's very unpatriotic.
I mean, there should be Yellowstone just should be a giant chevron, right? That's really where we're headed, it seems, with the removal of protections. Didn't a lot of those Bears Ears protections just get slashed? The Obama protections?
Oh yeah. Well, on a greater portion. Well, when they cut down the monument, obviously,
right.
And there's a lot of Native American artifacts that are located around where they cut the monument to, the outside of the new boundaries, and there's some like ancient ruins are there, like kivas and
right.
and a lot of the artifacts that people are just coming in and stealing. And I
Yeah.
They say they want more roads, but the reason they want more roads and utilities is for the mining, because it's rich in uranium and Bears Ears. And up in Vernal, there's natural gas, there's oil.
So all the reasons for wanting this land are for energy sources we don't want to be using ever.
In the future.
Right.
Yeah.
But our government doesn't promote that. Yeah.
No, a lot of these lands could be, I mean, the stuff that's more desert or whatever that they're mining on now could be used for solar panels or wind.
A lot of those
There's
old
a lot of
mines.
wind in areas where you get a lot of sun. So
yeah, you could take those old mines and turn them into batteries instead of they're doing that with old coal mines in Germany. They're just filling full of water, turn them into giant hydro batteries. You could also, but we have a long way to go for you to do that. So let's just have a question for the Ute Indian Tribe Pack. Why or who's this person? Do we have a question for them?
Oh,
Tell us about this. What's this here for?
That's information. If you want to help out, the Ute Pack are the ones that have the lawsuit against the United States to try to protect their treaty and their land.
All right.
And their water. And Robert, he's a great guy. I've talked to him on the phone a few times.
Okay.
Super nice guy. He is directly, person in charge of the Ute Pack, and he's in LA right now. He used to be up in Vernal, but now he's in LA, and he's just a great guy. And that he has a really good organization. He's been involved in a lot of, what do you call it? He's been working really hard to change things. Yeah. He's an activist. Yes, he's an activist. So it's really awesome that he's there, and they have this pack, and they also have the Ute Land Protectors, which is a group of Ute Indian women, and they're pretty vocal. They went down to Bears Ears and everything too to stand for them.
Awesome.
And and they're there protesting when there's new mines and drills being put up in Vernal.
Good.
And Vernal's a gorgeous place, by the way. It's one of my favorite places to drive through. It's just gorgeous if you ever have a chance to go there.
In Utah, if I'm not getting busted for a speeding ticket, I'll try to.
Most of the freeways are 80 now, so it's not that bad.
That's true. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Christine. It's a good report on what's going on with some of the environmental shenanigans in Utah and the Utah government.
Welcome to the fam.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited.
See, I put out a wish that we would have another woman on the show, and boom.
There you go.
There she is. Yay.
You definitely needed another woman.
Yes.
A little man heavy.
Way.
No.
By the way, that there's all these places where there's fracking and other use of land. There's actually a way to prep these areas politically. Basically, what's been happening in Pennsylvania and at the start of the fracking is they raise taxes on farmland and in rural areas. So it became almost impossible for folks to hang on to their properties unless they sold out in some way.
I totally believe that, and I wouldn't doubt if that starts happening here more and more. But farmers still have a lot of pull here, ranchers and farmers.
I hope they're smart, because historically farmers are kind of biting their own. They're like shooting themselves in the foot, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are, but they're all conservatives, so they kind of kowtow to them right now. So
it's unfortunate.
In the Utah red state.
Good luck there in Utah with, Is Mitt still there or no? Did they boot him out?
Mitt Romney, he just became my senator.
Yeah. This dude's still running around.
Yay. Yeah, he won.
He won, sadly, but he won.
No hope for Utah, other than Christine. Thank you, Christine, for being our hope in Utah.
Yeah, I'll try. There's a few good guys. Joshua Cameron's out here. He's putting up the good fight, too. He's awesome.
Good. Hi, 37 of you watching right now.
Wow.
Thank you for being here. Barbara says, thank you, Christine. That was great support.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thanks, everyone. Bram, I had to say hi to Bram. Who else?
All right.
Oh, Mitchell, Snort, Y2K. Yeah.
All right. Hi, everybody. Christine will join us again when we do another show. Maybe the Christmas show or something. I don't know. Cool. We'll have to figure it out. Thank you.
Do we have a show next week?
I don't know.
Is it officially? Because I'm not around, but Pat Cody, Peter Douche said he'd come in and take my place.
Next week? Okay, maybe we'll do something with Pete. I'll always do the Saturday show.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that, but we are gonna slim things down for the holidays, and then regroup and do something different. So I've been evolving on what we're doing here, and how we can be effective in the revolution. And wow, could show these. Hang on, I got you sitting up there. Give me a second. I got all sorts of shit going on. There we go. That's me. All right.
That's better.
We'll get to that. We're getting into holiday mode. All right, before I go to serious holiday mode, I did want to just take some time to reminisce on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's tweets. She is destroying MSM in Twitter right now, along with, what is it, Ilhan? Did I pronounce that correctly?
Ilhan Omar.
Ilhan Omar. My bad. Terrible. Those two young ladies are just ripping the shit out of idiot white men and MSM bobbleheads, and Junior here, right? And I just love that. I have noticed that Junior here has a habit of posting nonsense about me whenever the Mueller investigation heats up. Please keep it coming, Junior. It's definitely a very, very large brain idea to troll a member of a body that will have subpoena power in a month. All right? So that's good. Have fun. Now, so of course, Fox News and everybody, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is threatening, Donald Trump Jr. With subpoena. What, is that? Can we have her arrested now, or burned at the stake?
Did she just do what we think she did? Oh my God!
Yeah. So, for the GOP crying that this is a threat, I don't have power to subpoena anybody. This is how that works. Congress as a body, GOP included, has the power. No individual member can issue a subpoena unless they are chair, which as a freshman I can assure you I will not be. Also must be under purview. She's already schooling people on how this fucking thing works. I just hope that she can stay unstained. I don't know. Yeah. Because I can tell you in Oregon, that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
We've lost our progressive movement in Oregon. It no longer exists. Anyway, those two ladies are just tearing it up, and it's fun to at least watch them verbally destroy these pundits and other ass fucks.
Yeah. I saw something about here that all the different perceptions of Alex, and one was to centrists, she is absolutely crazy. To liberals, she is a establishment plant. To conservatives, she is the embodiment of Karl Marx. And she's the best thing to happen to the progressive voice in Congress in a long time, whatever you say.
Yeah.
I mean, the Green New Deal is growing new members by the day. Whether it passes or not, again, this is our freshman year. This is our getting involved. This is our beginning of our infiltration. 2020 is when that will really ramp up. And I think it's great that she is getting attention from all kinds of attention. There's no such thing as negative, as we've seen with other politicians. So I love it when she just schools people right and left when they try and roast her, and it's amazing.
It is. It's nice to see. It's refreshing. It's better than
we've met her. We've talked to her. We've talked to her 3 or 4 times now, and it's we know who she is from.
She won't talk to us anymore.
Sure she would.
But we're toxic to her now. She can't be seen talking to us. We're pariahs, which is the end song, actually. Anyway, yeah, I love what she's doing there, and I see all your comments. No, not Pelosi's not a freshman. She said she's a freshman. In other words, she's saying she's not going to be a chair. Mm-hmm. Right? It requires a chair. She's not a chair. But all right, just a few fun pictures. I love the internet. That's Trump at the funeral. He's very unhappy. He makes that posture a lot, so it's really easy to stick him in baby pictures because he acts like a fucking baby. This is America. I think the patient in room C is dying, doctor. Does he have insurance? No. Yep, he's dying. America. Bam. Boom. Right? And this one. How many legs until we admit we hate liberty? 1, 2, 3. 3 legs. Not many. Already on to next week here. join us tomorrow, next week. Join us tomorrow, all 10 of you from Oregon who watch the show. We have like an audience of about 300, maybe 10 from Oregon. So join the Progressive Oregon show tomorrow to talk about Oregon, where Larry and Betsy will talk about the Q4 State Central Committee, give an update of what happened there, and James Barber will join us to discuss Standing Rule 13 and the shenanigans going on in the Democratic Party of Oregon around that. After that, Larry is going to do a discussion of electronic meeting rolls for the SEC delegates who should know this information but won't watch, and that's going to happen at 12:30. Join us for that if you want. Good information. And why do I sound so down and bummy about it? It's because this last week has been the fucking big smack in the face of reality with the Democratic Party of Oregon and understanding of where power sits and what it does. And I guess in the end, it went like this, like, hey, we have some information and some tools and some facts, and we can use that to expose some corruption in the Democratic Party of Oregon. Isn't that awesome? Let's do that. Okay, we did it. Oh, no one's backing us on this. And now they're backing the people we just exposed. And, okay, so now we're like, apparently too aggressive and lacking decorum when calling out liars and people that have deceived the Democratic Party en masse with their power. And you take a step back from that and realize that what I've been doing this last week is having a Facebook argument with the chair of the Democratic Party of Oregon over transparency and the will of the people to have transparency in their party. And the Democratic Party of Oregon chair and the chair of the Rules Committee are fighting that transparency. And it's blatant, and it's obvious, and it's deceptive, and it's being done in a number of ways that we're very familiar with. Spinning of the narrative, omitting of facts. And what I've learned is that when you stick your neck out there, when you go, hey, everybody, we worked really hard to show you the truth here. And Larry's been working on this with some other people for months, for years. This whole Standing Rule 13 thing started, Standing Rule 13 started in Q2 of 2017. And it's been delay after delay after delay by the chair of the DPO and the chair of the Rules Committee of the DPO, okay? But here's the thing. They're both liked. Everybody thinks Jean Atkins is a swell lady, and she's a great person, and they don't know why I'm being such a jerk, and why would I attack her like this? And what I've learned is we have no allies. The progressive movement doesn't exist in Oregon. It dissolved after 2016 and has been diluted by the corporate narrative. And whatever, if there was ever a coalition of progressives in Oregon, we're not a part of it. I've tried to be a part of it. I've tried to make one. I've tried to reach out to Bernie PDX. Don't know what they do besides have holiday parties, but they don't communicate with us. Don't know what other progressive groups there are in Oregon, but they don't communicate with us. And that's fine. That's fine. I'm just done trying to be a part of the team. I'm done trying to be a part of that mechanism that affects change, because without allies, we're ineffectual. We look like pariahs. And that's essentially what I've been told this week. You're aggressive. You lack decorum. Your tactics are not, the right tactics. Like, I'm sorry. What part of we have 12 years to get our shit together on climate change did you not understand? How much time do you want to spend trying to work out a compromise with these corporate motherfuckers? I guess that's where I'm at. I'm not interested in civility and decorum. I'm interested in kicking some ass, taking names, and making progress. That's what the whole progressive term is kind of about. I'm going to refocus my efforts on not the Democratic Party of Oregon. I'm done supporting that party. I'm done working with that party. I'm done helping that party. I see no hope in the Democratic Party of Oregon. I don't see any progressives anymore in the Democratic Party of Oregon. People that I thought were progressives other than Larry Taylor, basically, and the little tiny crew we have, I don't know who they are. If there are progressives in Oregon, you're not interested in working with us, and that's fine. I'll go move to something else. I'm going to focus more on climate change, and I've got this project with Paul Chaitlin that I'm going to do, and that's going to be really fun. And as I said earlier, I'm going to take some time, and I'm going to go spend some time in Germany with Marcus. And we'll still do the Saturday show, and we'll cover whatever topics these people want to cover. That's fine. And if Larry wants to do something, I'll do it. But outside of that, I'm done. I'm done with the Democratic Party of Oregon, because the Democratic Party of Oregon doesn't have a progressive majority anymore. There's no progressive coalition. My understanding is this is the same for Washington and for California. So I have one message to the progressive movement. If you actually want to survive, we have to communicate together. I don't know how to make that happen. And if you guys all are communicating together and think you got it down and your shit together, good. I'll stay out of it because I don't want to fuck things up. I'm just here to say we've always been a pariah, and I don't know what to do about that. So I'm going to take a break and step back, and we will create shows for our little family here. And that's about it. Yeah, there it is. So.
Right on.
Yeah. So. And again, that wasn't addressed to our family. That was addressed to the rest of Oregon that doesn't even know this fucking show exists. Mm-hmm. That supposed progressive movement, right? And when I said those stats, I meant that. Like I did some research. So like, how many people from Oregon actually watch the Progressive Oregon show? Not many people. We have more of an audience from the rest of the United States than we do from Oregon. So.
Basically, you guys.
Yeah. The same 300 fucking people watch our shit. Doesn't matter what it is. And I love you all because you're the reason we stay here. So there it is.
You guys have the best chat.
Well, thanks.
Definitely.
That. We do have the best chat.
Chat has been groomed and cleaned for years now.
You guys are wonderful. And as many people in the progressive movement have found out, like Pat Cody and others, we're just this little nugget sitting there that not many people know about or want to do anything with, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm just not going to try to work real hard for a party that doesn't give a fuck. Without allies, it's just no fun. Be like dropping into D-Day by yourself. I'm already. Oh, where's everybody? That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's where it's at. I actually had a list of the things. Just so you know, this is what I'm doing here. I'll be doing climate-focused media. I'm going to work on climate comics with Paul Chaitlin and Jimmy Sunderland. That's going to be really fun. So if anybody out wants to work on a climate comics project where we're going to turn the few progressive actual Congress people and representatives we have will be our superheroes, right? Bernie and AOC and Ilhan, and maybe there's like 5 other we can count. I don't know. Be a very empty hall of justice. And on the other side, there'll be like a gazillion criminals. Peter DeFazio's in there with everybody else. And then there'll be this weird gray area where we're not really sure whether they're good or bad. They kind of... Anyway, we're going to build the whole comics universe, and then we're going to put out panels that just kind of like these stories of that hopefully will tell more of a message and be fun and reach a different audience. And Paul's really into it, and so is Jimmy, to be fun. And the other thing we're going to do is I'm meeting with CCTV in Salem, which is the local cable access. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, or what we will do with them as a crew, but it'll be something. I would like to continue to expose things. I just don't know what. And so that sounded terrible. That was an awful way to say that. In journalism, I should have added that. Anyway, we'll we'll figure it out. This is just where I'm at, though. I'm done thinking I can affect change in the Dem Party. It's controlled by corporate Dems. We have no progressive allies. The progressive movement failed to organize and coordinate with each other. We no longer have a progressive majority in the state of Oregon. We lost SEC seats. And so I guarantee you in the next reorg, it will be a much more corporate reorg. And we will continue to accomplish absolutely nothing within the Democratic Party of Oregon. So anyway, happy holidays. That's your holiday message. Holiday update.
And it's pragmatic.
Yeah.
I mean, Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you.
By the way, before we go, there's going to be a few links, two of them about what's going on in Wisconsin and in North Carolina.
They're in the description. They're all in there.
Yeah.
Are you dropping them in chat too? Amos?
No, I can't do it at the moment, but they're going to be in the description, right?
They're all in there. Same with Christine's.
Okay, so, and the other one is like Bernie Sanders was asked on Colbert, which unfortunately we can't share with you here, but he was asked whether he was running for president, and his answer was typically very diplomatic and very confidential. So you can see that. And there's another link about a Jewish Santa Claus, an Orthodox Jew who turned out to be Santa Claus. It's kind of heartwarming.
Nice. Well,
I just dropped the Colbert clip into chat also. I'm
sorry, but a Jewish Santa Claus, that's destroying Christmas again. That's just crossing the line, don't you think, Amos? Anyway, Dennis, I saw your statement. Yes, when I get to Germany, we're going to have to figure out how to get everybody together. We'll have a cookout. I bought Braunschweiger to try to learn what to do with it. Marcus said he doesn't know what to do with it either.
Well, Dennis is a chef, remember?
Yeah, Dennis do all the cooking, man. Bring it down.
Luckily, we just volunteered you for that, Dennis. You'll cook for us, won't you? I'll come too.
Yeah? You join us?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've been invited.
Yeah, I'll go.
Marcus says I can go anytime.
The ocean is our escape. Germany's my escape. You go. Anyway, all right. Thank you all so much for being here. Fun times. Like I said, we'll keep going. Just going to change focus. Tired of the Dem Party. I need a break. You know.
You gave it a good shot. You from the beginning, you got in there. You tried to show them how they could use technology to work better, how they could communicate better. And it's just, they're not ready.
It's all right. Even lovers need a holiday, right?
Yes.
All right. So music story time. Or no, did I get with the... Yeah, I tweeted about those things. So, all right. We're going out with Steve Wilson because I'm actually going to get to see Steve Wilson in Germany with Marcus, which is like a giggly boy dream there. It's really frightening. I've seen Steve Wilson several times in LA, and I'm a big fan of anything he does, and I'm very excited about seeing him in a country that doesn't suck as much as ours. And I'm going to be really sad leaving that country. Anyway, the song is called Pariah because it's kind of how I felt. And yeah, I'm letting the butthurt flow on this one. But it's a good song. This is going to snap copyright. See, it may block for a second, but it should come right on back because this is the other reason I want to play this song. Steve Wilson is very, very open about digital media. He understands that the way to get people to buy your stuff as a musician is to make sure you put it out there so that they can get it, and then we'll buy it. It's reverse of what old media was. But if you make a product that's worth grabbing, people will pay for the right to have it. And Steve Wilson does this. So he puts out this beautiful HD video of this concert he did in the Royal Albert Hall. I'm going to buy a copy of it. Why? Because I want the full HD master audio quality of it, and you can't get that if I just scrape it off the net, right? He just pushed it out there on YouTube. That's smart. We're going to run a clip from the Royal Albert Hall because we can. But here's what's fun about it. Eagle Rock Entertainment is one of those companies that likes to buy this digital content, copyright claim it, and then shut people down for running it. They own this. but because it's Steve Wilson, they can't shut me down. They can only monetize it. So in a holiday, fuck you to Eagle Rock Entertainment and their greed, we're going to run this live. So it's fun. Like I said, it may hit you just for a second on the copyright, but after that it'll be fine. Almost there. So thank you all for joining us today. Enjoy the song, and I will see you all tomorrow if you join us for the Progressive Oregon show and the Robert's Rules after that. Chris, Amos, Laura, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Almost.
Everybody in the audience, thank you all for keeping us here. That's why we do this.
Tired of weakness, tired of my feet of clay. I'm tired of days to come. I'm tired of yesterday. And all the worn out things that I ever said, now it's much too late. The words stay in my head. Tired of my failing health. I'm tired of everyone, and that includes myself. Well, being alone now, it doesn't bother me, but not knowing if you want, well, that's when hell you see.
It's
Don't you worry, don't worry about a thing, 'cause nothing really dies, nothing really ends.